So, welcome back to a brand new episode of Walkin Talkin with Tim, and my guest today is Jim Turpin. So, Jim is the president and owner of Chelsea Wealth Management. It's in Haddonfield, right?
Correct.
In Haddonfield, and I'm a customer because Jim's the best. But I'm gonna let Jim tell you guys exactly what he and Chelsea Wealth Management does for you.
Sure, Tim. So thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it. We're an independent financial advisor office, and the biggest thing I can say about being an independent is that we get to do what's first and foremost right for our clients, right? There's no one telling me, oh, I have to sell this product this week, or we have to put you in this fund this month, or there's a special on this, or there's a contest for that.
There's a blue light special on fund number 34.
Exactly. Put $100,000 in this fund this week and you'll go to Aruba next month, So we don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
Which is great.
Right. And, I look at it as I started this business 11 years ago, and people's money is very personal.
Yes.
And I think there's nothing wrong with the wire shops, and they offer people certain things that, I can't give them, like access to certain things. But for the typical investor, they don't need access to those things.
No, they need access to you.
That's right. And, the advantage of being a solo practitioner is, everyone has my cell phone. Yeah. They need to get a hold of me, they just call me directly, right? They don't have to go through a secretary or anything like that.
Right.
And I think that's really the key piece to, building a business, building the relationships, especially when you're talking about people's money, because it is the thing that people are so passionate about. And at the same time,
there's a lot of fear in there.
There's a ton of fear. And the other thing is, a lot of people are afraid to ask questions. Yeah. They don't want to sound, I don't want to ask a dumb question. I tell everyone, it's your money.
Yes.
Ask the question. There are no dumb questions. Like the question you don't ask me, or the thing that you don't want to talk about.
It's probably the thing you should talk about.
Exactly. And could be costing you tens of thousands of dollars. Whether it's not putting money to work or putting money to work in the wrong way for you, right? Like that's the whole key. And everything is really customized as well based on each of our clients' specific needs. So it's it's not a one-size-fits-all package. The one thing we do with every client is we do a full assessment of all their holdings.
Yep.
Where you been? Right? we do a risk assessment. Are you a 1, and meaning you want to put the money under your mattress, or are you 100 and you want to go down to AC and bet it all on black, right? So everyone's going to fall somewhere in between there, and there's a plan that can be created for everyone that way.
Yeah.
So, it's really all about what works for you, what allows you to put your head on the pillow at night and sleep comfortably knowing that, okay, someone's there watching
my money. And I can attest to the class, because I was there in your conference room with the whiteboard asking questions, and everything was drawn out for me because I need pictures.
With the wife.
With the wife.
Because one of the biggest things with a married couple is you need buy-in with both parties, right?
Exactly right.
You have to come, as an advisor, I've always felt that you need to come to a real balance between, keeping everybody happy and what's best for them financially. And that's a tough, at times, that's a really tough.
We want to retire someday.
That's right.
Everybody does.
Everybody does, right? And some people have a different schedule. So that's really the key to making sure that you're putting together a plan that's appropriate for that client.
Roger that. So speaking of the wife, let's start right there with Timmy.
Sure.
Timmy! Let's start right there. So you told me that you met your wife in Philly at the Irish pub.
Yep.
Because you had come back to the city from the West Coast because you were out there for a little while working. You got transferred back here. You took a job here.
Yep.
And you said you were in Philly at the Irish pub, and that's where you met your wife. What's your wife's name?
My wife's name's Sue.
Sue.
Yep.
Shout out to Sue. And you and your wife have 4 daughters. Now, I have 2 daughters. I know what it's like to be a girl dad. But this dude knows what it really was like to be a girl dad, because 2 of them are twins. So that's a lot of estrogen in one house.
Oh,
God
yeah.
bless you. I don't know how you do it. You know, it's a lot. Anyway,
Right.
but I love being a girl dad. It's a lot of fun.
It is.
It really is.
I wouldn't change it for the world.
No, I'm just kidding around.
I have a great partner. My wife is, you know, I give her a ton of credit for, you know, growing up in a house of nothing but boys. Having
Yeah.
daughters was completely foreign to me. She's really guided me through this whole journey. You know, she was incredibly supportive when I started the business. I left a
Right.
really good job in New York
Yeah.
to start a business, and you know, I always tell people,
look at you now.
Yeah, well, you know, it was the first 18 months were brutal. You know how
I
that,
do
you know,
know how
starting
it
a
is.
business, how tough it is early. You know, she
Give her that 5-year hump and
Yep. She,
You're on your way.
she supported me through thick and thin, and you know, it's you know, it's all come out on the other end.
Yeah.
But you know, it's without her, you know, support and you know, kind of her guiding me through being a girl dad. That you know, don't know if I would have made it myself.
All right, so we're gonna go back in time a little bit.
Yep.
Now. So let's connect all this together.
Sure.
So Jim is one of 14 children, and
All adopted.
all adopted. So and so this is a really, really cool thing that you know your parents did, right?
Yes.
So you know, 14 children is a lot of kids to adopt,
Yep.
and you were the last.
I was the last, and I'm literally the runt of the family.
You're the runt. You're the
Yep.
baby.
Yep.
And you were telling me that you know you grew up in. You guys were in AC, right?
My parents lived in AC, but I grew up in Northfield.
Gotcha.
So they had moved to Northfield after, like in 1949. So
Right.
my parents are, that date sounds odd to people. It's because my parents were much older. My father was 60 when I was adopted, when I came into the Turpin household.
Right.
And, you know, as I came in, there were 10 people in the house. So 7 other brothers and my parents. You know, and I grew up in a 1,700 square foot.
Fighting for food.
Well,
Literally.
yeah, that too. That
Literally.
too. You know, we grew up in a 1,700 square foot house,
Yeah.
1 full bath.
Oh.
You know, 6 kids to 1 bedroom and bunk beds. You know,
Oh.
so
So
like,
you told me you grew up poor.
yes,
That's growing up poor.
yes,
Yes, that's growing up poor.
that's grown up poor.
There's no doubt you guys were fighting over crumbs on
Oh.
the table.
And
Like that's
you
mine.
You want to talk about hand-me-downs?
Yeah, right.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that's my crumb. You know. But yeah, I get it, man. It's crazy. I
Yep.
mean, you said your dad for a while was a state cop, and then
Yep.
he became a boiler.
So yeah, so it was my father had poor health, and so he ended up leaving the state police. He ran the security guards back when they had armed guards in banks for
Yeah.
the First National Bank of South Jersey. And then at 65, they retired him because the rules in the bank were can't carry a gun after 65.
Right.
So then he went on to, you know, he basically went on, got his plumbing license, and learned and became a certified boiler operator,
Yeah.
and ran facilities for the bank until he died in 1983.
Crazy. And you were still only 14.
Yeah, well, I was 13 at the time. I just literally graduated from 8th grade.
Right.
A week later, he passed.
So the one question I ask you that I want to emphasize is, you know, we talk about things like, because we talk about money, right?
Yep.
We talk about want and need. I talk about it with my kids all the time.
Yep.
There's wants and needs. So it's important to know the difference, and it's important to know what money is and understand how it works and all that. But for you, growing up the way you did, and your kids being like, basically, it's like you flip the coin, right?
Yep.
And they're living on the other side of that, and they're getting to see the other piece of it. So
Yep.
So that dichotomy of the difference in the way you grew up and how you raised your kids, I think is important. So talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So, you know, my wife and I grew up very differently as well. She grew up not in a upper class family. She grew up in a very normal middle class family.
Yeah.
Her father was in the insurance business for 45 years, but they didn't want for anything, right?
Right.
Like they weren't doing extravagant trips or anything like that. However, there was always food on the table.
Yep.
The bills were always getting paid. There was never, you weren't coming home to the cable being shut off or the electricity being shut
Right.
off or anything like that. But she definitely lived a much more normal
Fridge being empty.
middle class, lifestyle. So, when we started to have kids,
Yeah.
you know, I was so much tougher on the kids.
Sure.
Right? Just because...
You're trying to save every dime.
Well, not only that, but I'm trying to teach them that, you know, you don't always... You know, there are people out there who don't have these things.
Right. Struggling.
And if you really work hard,
Yeah.
you don't have to be stuck in the situation that you're in.
It's true.
Right? Like, you can get out of the rut that you're in or in the situation you're in if you work hard and you apply yourself. And that's all I was really trying to
Brick
get
by
across.
brick.
That's right. You know?
Brick
like,
by brick.
earn it. You're always going to appreciate things that you earn more than they're just given to you.
Amen.
Right? You know, it's like we're talking about cars, right? Like, all the girls had to pay for their cars.
Yeah.
And then we matched dollar for dollar whatever they were putting up, but then they had to make car payments every month, right, to the bank of dad. So they had a budget of okay, if you want to buy a car and you want to pay it all off, that's fine. You're still going to owe me $100 a month for insurance.
Right.
So they had to have skin in the game, right? I thought it was always important for them to know what it was like to have a budget, have obligations, have to work. You know, they're all coming home from college now, or at least the three youngest are. You know, they're all going to work all summer long, right?
But they're all doing well.
Yeah, they all, thank goodness they're all, my wife and I have raised 4, great, strong, independent women.
That's it.
And
Now
that was
they're telling you what to do.
Oh, they've been telling me what to do for a long time, Tim.
That ship sailed long ago.
Yeah, that's I think once puberty hit, I think it was all out the window from there for me. But they're all strong, independent women, and that's all I really wanted to make sure that we raised. Right? And I'm sure that they definitely have some issues with things that I did or said as they were growing up. But
your dad.
Right, I'm a dad, and that's kind of what
goes into territory.
Yep, absolutely.
Come on, man.
So, I'm good with that. I love my daughters. I'm very proud of all of them. And I did we make mistakes along the way? Of course we did.
Not you, Jim. I can't see it.
I've made more mistakes than I care to admit, but it's a little bit of trial and error, and in the end, you look back on it and go,
you made a cake.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty much what it's all about. You're putting all the ingredients in. Go, man. I sure hope this thing works out.
You gotta break some eggs, and
That's right.
you gotta scramble some things, and
listen. With everything, I believe with everything, you got to screw up.
Oh, absolutely.
No matter what you do, you got to screw up a little bit.
And we both know that whether it's family or business, we always learn more about all the mistakes we've made than out of the successes. Right? It's the deal we thought we were going to have and we didn't close. We're like what happened?
Exactly right.
Or the deal that all of a sudden fell into our laps.
Didn't happen.
That fell into our laps. We're like, oh, where'd this business come from?
Exactly right.
I wasn't looking for this, right? And the same thing with your kids, You're going to run into these things of like, looking back on that, should have handled that better, right? My bad, screwed that up, right?
Yeah.
And I think the key is now talking to them as adults.
Yep.
And having that interaction now is
the most fun.
Oh, couldn't agree. It's
the most gratifying thing.
It is so gratifying to be able to have,
adult
conversations with good people,
joking around, having a beer, all that.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's it was all worth the process.
It was all worth it, man.
Yes, it was.
So listen, man, that's a lot of information. This guy is full of information. We could talk all day.
Oh yeah.
But tell people, if they want to get a hold of you, how do they do it?
Sure. So real easy. You can reach us at 856-685-7825, or you can send me an email, and it's Jim Turpin at CWM.com.
Listen, thanks for being on.
Oh, Tim, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I know we've been trying to do this for a while, and we finally were able to make it happen.
We got it done.
That's right.
And remember, all this is powered by Corp Technologies, your technology experts. And remember, keep on moving, keep on walking, Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and now YouTube. And we will see you next time on Walkin' and Talkin' with Tim.
Mahala.
Peace, y'all.